Hi, it's Mark from Mark the Cyberbeast, and today we're going to talk about company wraps. Should you do it? And what are the benefits of it? And all the things you need to know about wrapping your company information on your Cybertruck. So here we go. Now, many of you don't realize my first Tundra, not the one I still have and keep in Florida, but my previous Tundra I had that one for about 12 years, and I had that wrapped with my company information. I had an IT company called a managed services company specifically called Twisted Technologies. And I had the information on that, the phone number, the website, the logos, Microsoft partner, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had that all wrapped up and everything, and around 2012, I totaled my truck. I was towing a trailer. It was not properly set up, not properly weighted on the trailer. And I had about 20 minutes more left on the highway after going about 7 hours. And I was going across an open field. The wind came and it tossed my Tundra over and basically totaled my truck. So I got a new Tundra, but I chose not to wrap it. Some of you out there with your Cybertrucks have wrapped it. Some are thinking about it. And we're going to talk about if you should, if you shouldn't, how you should, how you shouldn't, etc. So those of you who have gotten the regular plain old single color or dual color wraps just for aesthetics, that's one thing. But for those of you who have businesses, because many of you, this is a business expense, hopefully, and you're going to head and want free advertising on your truck, because this is, let's face it, a lot of real estate to advertise on. Plus, it's a head turner. Now, there's really two questions you need to ask yourself about this. And the first question is, are you in a geographic area that is a Tesla target or Tesla friendly? Okay, and that's the first thing we're going to talk about. The second thing we're going to talk about is the industry and the company that you have. Now, where you're located. Now, where I'm at in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, it is the reddest county in a red state. So I get nothing but thumbs up unless you're a tourist who's from a blue state. Everyone loves me. I go to the Home Depot and Lowe's and I talk to people about the truck when I'm loading it up. And it's just really, really cool. But some of you were in places, maybe it's Washington or Oregon, New Hampshire, I don't know, some Chicago maybe area, some bluer areas. And again, not to get political, but these are the places where they're keying Teslas. Minnesota, the guy worked for Tim Walsh, did $20,000 worth of damage to 6 cars, and he's not even getting charged. Supposedly he's paying restitution, but he's not going to get charged even though he did commit a crime. So if you're thinking about a company wrap in those areas, it may be taken the wrong way. Now, granted, not everyone on the left hates Tesla. It's just really a microcosm of the left, right? And not to stereotype, but really it's a small percentage that makes the loudest voice, but you don't really want to antagonize things. So if you are in a very blue area, you may not want to put your company information on a wrap. You may get someone just leaving false Google reviews. You may get people, prank calling you and just doing things that are just flat out rude, okay? So don't give them that opportunity, right? Now, if you had another brand truck, maybe you had a Ford Lightning or a Rivian, you can definitely wrap it and get away with it. But for now, maybe this will pass over in a year. If you're in a deep blue area, I would probably reconsider wrapping it with your company information. As tempting as it is, as much exposure as you get, it could also have a negative effect. I say this because I've had a wrap truck for years, and it was a Toyota Tundra. It was, neutral to everyone in Atlanta, but really, if it was the same thing going on today back then with Tesla, and I had a Cybertruck back then in Atlanta, I'm not sure if I would do it. There's a possibility I would do it. And that's what we're going to next, is what type of business you have. Now, because it's an IT business, there's that, well, you know what? It may make a good point to wrap it. So we've gone over geographic location and the geopolitical stuff that really, you don't really want to talk politics with friends. So let's talk about what type of industry you have and should you advertise it on your Cybertruck. Now, there's gonna be some that are no-brainers to do, and there's gonna be some you don't. Some of the things, some of the industries we may not talk about are probably gonna be good. If you're in a neutral area, it doesn't have to be a red area. If you're just in a neutral area, if you're a realtor, I think it's a great idea, okay? If you're in the IT industry, I think it's a great idea. If you sell solar panels and solar roofs and Tesla Powerwalls, you better darn have that thing wrapped up with your logo on it and all the information, because this is the walking Tesla solar. This is the whole purpose of going solar, right? Is to charge your vehicle. So I don't know, I think those are no-brainers, okay? And then I have to give shout out, I don't know this painting company, I apologize, but I saw a Cybertruck, he had it wrapped, and he had on top of the Cybertruck, he had this huge paint roller. I thought it was the most clever thing in the world. I loved it. And you know what? Here's what you have to think about with that. Number one, it's gonna get your attention, okay? It flat out awesome marketing idea. The other thing you have to think about is when he gives quotes, people are gonna say, oh, you're driving a Cybertruck. You immediately have to respond back with, funny you should say that. Did you know that the total cost of ownership on this Cybertruck ends up being cheaper in 4 years than the previous truck I had, the Ford F-150, or you know, whatever truck you had, GMC, whatever. Because we talked about that in an episode, the total cost of ownership, because of the gas, because the oil changes, the brakes, the tune-ups that you don't have to spend money on. You're spending several $1,000s a year less, and after about 4 years, you know, it's a wash. So honestly, you just have to be ready, because you're gonna get that. Oh, here's my quote for the painting. Well, it's probably to pay for that $100,000 truck. Well, actually, it's not a $100,000 truck, because the cost of running it is cheaper than the F-150 I had. And as long as you do that, you'll be able to save the day, okay? So, you know, the painters may get a little flack, but I think with that roller on top, it is just brilliant. And honestly, almost any business, you've got a Cybertruck and you want to wrap it up and put your business on here, you know, if you're in a neutral area or a red area, anything like that, I think it's great to get the attention. You've got a lot of real estate for exposure on the back and on the sides, and nothing on the front. Even though compared to a pickup truck, you do have a little bit of room. You just have so much real estate here. But there is going to be industries and companies that even if you're in a friendly area, you do not want to put a wrap on. I'm going to alienate some of my viewers, hopefully not, but this is the reality check. If you're an attorney and you wrap your truck and you put your law firm on there, you're gonna get some feedback. You're gonna get some flack. Most people don't like attorneys. When I say most, I'm only talking about, yeah, maybe 99%, okay? The other 1% are attorneys. A lot of people hate attorneys. I really don't know people who like attorneys, okay? I'd apologize, but I don't like attorneys. My wife doesn't like attorneys. We've had just not fond experiences with them. It's a necessary evil to have one on occasion, but if you're advertising your law firm on a Cybertruck, get prepared to have people call you out on it, and it's gonna happen. You know, if you had even just an F-150 or a Rivian, I don't think you would, but you're gonna be a target if you've got a law firm advertisement on there. I'm not sure how many other businesses, if you put on a Cybertruck, would just get absolutely torched other than that. I do think, though, that just about any business be safe to advertise on here, except attorneys. And I know I'm rubbing one or two people wrong, because I've seen the wraps in the groups. I've seen, I think, 2 different attorneys wrap their Cybertruck. Maybe, and this is a big maybe, you know, maybe if you were a DUI attorney, maybe if you're a closing attorney, that's all you do are closings. But aside from closings, if you do anything else, I don't know. I'm going to hear what you guys have to say in the comments on that. Also, I want to find out from people out there who have businesses. Are you wrapping it? What's your business name? What's your business do? I want to know what the feedback is that you're getting. I just know from regular trucks, what I've seen people, you know, you just have to be very, very careful. And here's why. Your website, your phone number are on there, okay? If you cut somebody off, even if it's not intentional, if you accidentally changed lanes and didn't look all the way, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna call your office up and they're gonna give you flack. Maybe you're speeding down the highway, right? Or maybe you're in the fast lane and somebody's behind you and you're not moving over to the middle lane. You might get a phone call and your office manager is gonna go like, oh, this is the third time this week where you get a phone call from someone because my boss drives like crap, okay? And again, you know, all you have to do is drive wrong, and you may be the most thoughtful, considerate driver there is, but that one time you don't look or do something and you cut someone off and it's the wrong person, it's gonna be a crusade. He's gonna go to Facebook and tell everyone how this Cybertruck dumpster cut me off and he owns XYZ company and I went there and gave him a bad review, you should too. People are just nasty like that, and not all, just some, but all it takes is that one person to cause you a lot of grief, okay? So I'm just doing this to make sure that you guys just put some good consideration in. If you're gonna put a wrap on it and you're concerned about driving, just use FSD all the time. FSD generally doesn't piss people off. The only time I've seen FSD piss people off is when there's like construction and you're merging in. Sometimes it gets a little aggressive and it cuts into places probably you shouldn't. That's happened to me once or twice, and I always have to put my hand out the window, apologize, because I wasn't driving. It was Elon driving. He was driving remotely with his remote control. So anyway, just things to consider. Always use FSD if you can, just from a safety perspective, but also it'll make you a more considerate driver. The one thing my sister has shared with me, because she's owned her Model Y now for a month, is she's realized just how aggressive she is, but now she's a much more thoughtful driver. She realizes when it's an FSD, she's able to see how you're supposed to drive, and honestly, you know, it's kind of changed her perspective on people and driving. So it's kind of good that FSD does that. It's just, again, it's that merging with traffic that sometimes will cause you an issue. Now, that's all I really have to say with the commercial wraps for your business. There are some companies, though, just so you know, that depending on your vehicle, and Cybertruck being one of them, that they will wrap your vehicle with whoever is paying for the advertising space, and they'll pay you X number of dollars per month. And that's generally based upon the mileage. What they do is they put these trackers on your vehicle, and they want to know where you're driving, when you're driving, and where you're driving to and from, and that you are driving, how many miles you're doing. Because you might tell them, oh, I drive 20,000 miles a year. And you may end up that you only drive 10,000 miles a year. Or maybe, you know, there's a certain part of town they want you to advertise in, they want to advertise this business in, but you're not in that part of town. So it's going to vary greatly, but I've heard these places pay anywhere from $400 a month to $1,000 to $2,000 a month, all based upon mileage. They'll pay to wrap it, and it's on you now to maintain that wrap. So if you get into an accident, you'll probably have to pay to repair that. So you don't want to get into an accident. But if you're doing a lot of mileage, and if you're in the right places of town, you know, you can make a couple grand a month doing this. Now, you don't have a choice over what advertising is on there. So you might be running around with an advertisement for a strip club. It may be for a realtor. It may be for just about anything. Could be Red Bull. You never know. But you just, it's a great way to make some side money if you need it. But, you know, it's going to not help your aesthetic of your truck. It's not going to make it look like a nice, polished yet dirty Cybertruck, which, by the way, it rained yesterday, which is good because now that sand that I got stuck on is nice and compact for the next person, so they won't get stuck on it. But you know, that's, I just like the polished look. But if you want to make some side money, there are those companies, just Google or Grok them, and you'll find that, you know, depending where you are, how much you drive, when you drive, depending if it's in the morning, rush hour drives, afternoon rush hour drives, or if it's midday or late in the day, they don't want you driving at night. They want you driving in rush hour traffic. They want people to see the vehicle, see the ad on it. And just like with your company, you want people to see your company everywhere, right? And that's why you put it on your truck. So just a couple little pieces of advice to be cognizant of. And that's just my little Friday tip of the week. And other than that, hope you guys have a real solid weekend. We've got some good weather coming up. I might take the jet ski out, we'll see. And enjoy this beautiful South Carolina weather, because it's almost May. We're this close. We're one more week away from May. I can't wait. Folks, thanks for joining me today. Remember, as always, every single time, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.